What if the key to better health wasn't in a pill, but in the trillions of microbes living inside you? What if you could re-engineer them yourself? No doctor, no prescription, just a few online orders, a blender, and a little courage. Some refer to it as the future of medicine, others call it playing with fire. Welcome to the world of DIY, microbiome biohacking, where citizen scientists are tweaking their gut bacteria in garages, kitchens, and community labs, hoping to cure diseases, boost mood, or even enhance athletic performance. It's bold, it's messy, and it's a revolution you can't see, but it's happening inside bodies, right now. The problem and fascination. We used to think the gut was just a digestion machine, a tube where food went in, nutrients got absorbed, and the rest, well, you know. But now science says it's more like a hidden control center, quietly influencing almost every system in your body. Inside you right now are trillions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi, collectively known as the microbiome. They're microscopic, but their impact is massive. These tiny tenants help digest food into usable fuel, manufacture essential vitamins, train your immune system to recognize friend from foe, and may even whisper chemical signals to your brain that influence your mood, your appetite, and perhaps even your personality. Here's the catch. Modern life has been waging an unintentional war on our microbial allies. Repeated courses of antibiotics can wipe out entire species. Diets high in processed foods and low in natural fiber starve beneficial microbes. Urban life choices limits exposure to the natural diversity found in soil, plants, and animals. Slowly, our microbial richness has been shrinking, and research now links that loss to rising rates of depression, allergies, obesity, and autoimmune disorders. For scientists, the microbiome has become one of the most exciting frontiers in medicine. Each discovery feels like unlocking a new chapter in the body's hidden instruction manual. For biohackers and health enthusiasts, it's a tantalizing playground, a chance to deliberately tweak and garden the ecosystem inside us. If you could restore your microbiome to its ancestral diversity, or even redesign it to enhance health, could you prevent disease before it starts? Could you boost mood, metabolism, and immunity all at once? The citizen scientist movement. You don't need a PhD or a sterile lab to study your gut anymore. What once required million-dollar equipment and university access is now possible on your kitchen counter. Thanks to cheap DNA sequencing, open-source analysis tools, and mail-in stool kits, anyone with curiosity and a willingness to send their poop through the postal system can map their microbiome from the comfort of home. Enter the citizen scientists, a loose, eclectic network of tinkerers, patients, health enthusiasts, and self-proclaimed biohackers. They gather in online communities, swapping stories and spreadsheets, comparing microbial profiles like trading cards. Some are battling stubborn illnesses that their doctors couldn't solve. Others are chasing peak performance, faster recovery, sharper focus, and better moods. A few are simply fascinated by the idea that their inner ecosystem might be as unique as their fingerprint. These grassroots researchers run their N=1 experiments such as high-fiber diets to feed the good bugs, marathon kefir and sauerkraut challenges, probiotic megadosing regimens, and in the more daring corners, at-home FMTs, fecal microbiota transplants. On Reddit threads, Discord servers, and in DIY bio community labs, they share step-by-step protocols, celebrate wins, and warn about what went wrong. The goals are as varied as the people themselves. Cure a chronic illness that has resisted conventional treatment. Improve digestion and banish bloating. Sharpen mental clarity and emotional stability. Even hack metabolism to burn fat more efficiently. It's science stripped of ivory towers, fueled by curiosity, desperation, and sometimes just the thrill of experimenting on oneself. And while this bottom-up revolution promises a flood of personal discoveries, it also carries all the risks, messiness, and unpredictability that come with unsupervised exploration. How microbiome biohacking works. At its core, DIY gut modification is about one thing: changing the species and balance of microbes living inside your digestive tract. Think of it as tending an invisible garden, pulling weeds, planting new seeds, and making sure the conditions are right for the healthiest organisms to thrive. Method 1. Probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics, live bacteria in capsule, powder, or food form, are the seed packets of the microbiome world. They can be store-bought supplements or homemade cultures, nurtured on a kitchen counter. Prebiotics, on the other hand, are the fertilizer, plant fibers like inulin and resistant starch that feed beneficial bacteria and help them multiply. Method 2. Dietary overhaul. Eating certain food is the fastest way to shift your microbial landscape. For example, High-fiber, plant-rich diets can create measurable changes in gut composition in just a few days. Each bite is like casting a vote for which species gets to stick around. Method 3. Fermented foods, kimchi, kefir, kombucha, and miso. These aren't just tangy side dishes. They're living delivery systems, teeming with active microbes, ready to join the ranks in your gut. Method 4. FMTs, fecal microbiota transplants. This one is exactly what it sounds like. Transferring stool from a healthy donor into someone else's gut. In clinical settings, it's a proven treatment for life-threatening C. difficile infections. Outside the lab, it's risky, controversial, and still very much experimental. Method 5. CRISPR and engineered strains. The bleeding edge of biohacking involves genetically modifying bacteria to produce specific compounds, vitamins, neurotransmitters, and even anti-inflammatory molecules. The potential is staggering, but so are the unknowns. The logic is simple. Change the ecosystem, change the outcome. Although the execution, that's where it gets complicated and sometimes unpredictable. Your gut is an ecosystem. Your microbiome isn't a single organism. You can tweak with a wrench. It's more like a dense living rainforest, a tangled interdependent web of life. Inside you, over 1,000 microbial species coexist, each with its own objectives. Some break down fiber into short-chain fatty acids, others produce vitamins, and some act as peacekeepers, keeping aggressive strains in check. Like the trees, plants, and animals of a real rainforest, your gut microbes compete for resources, form alliances, and communicate in chemical signals we're only beginning to decipher. When one species thrives, it can alter the environment for everyone else, sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. Add a single new bacterial strain, and you might shift the balance in unexpected ways. Feed the wrong microbe, perhaps one that thrives on sugar or processed fats, and you could unintentionally fuel harmful populations that crowd out beneficial ones. Wipe out too many species with a broad-spectrum antibiotic, and you risk something like ecological collapse. A once thriving forest reduced to a barren clearing, vulnerable to invasive species. This is why biohacking the gut is nothing like replacing a broken part in a machine. In a machine, every component has a fixed purpose. In an ecosystem, the rules are more fluid. A newcomer can become a savior or a saboteur, depending on context. Tending your microbiome is less about control and more about stewardship. You're not programming a computer, you're managing a wild habitat. Every intervention, from diet changes to probiotic supplements, is like introducing a new animal into a rainforest. And once it's there, it doesn't just live alongside the others, it changes the whole system. Success stories. Some citizen-led microbiome experiments have yielded results that even seasoned researchers find intriguing. These aren't vague, I feel better reports. In some cases, there's tangible evidence of change. The autoimmune shift. One patient with ulcerative colitis, exhausted from years of flare-ups and conventional treatments, began a regimen of resistant starch and targeted probiotics designed to boost anti-inflammatory bacteria. Within weeks, symptoms improved dramatically, with less pain, more energy, and a follow-up endoscopy confirmed reduced intestinal inflammation. While the medical establishment urges caution, the images spoke for themselves. The marathon microbe. A long-distance runner, fascinated by research on Veillonella atypica, a bacterium found in higher abundance in elite athletes, decided to introduce it into his gut via a carefully prepared culture. The theory? Veillonella converts lactic acid into short-chain fatty acids, potentially improving endurance. After months of self-tracking, he reported faster post-race recovery times and an ability to push further without hitting the wall. Mood modulation. In online biohacker groups, a trend emerged: homemade fermented milk rich in Lactobacillus reuteri. Multiple participants claimed better mood stability, reduced anxiety, and improved sleep after weeks of daily consumption. Some even tracked changes with wearable devices, noting lower nighttime heart rates and higher sleep quality scores. These stories are, of course, anecdotes, not randomized, placebo-controlled clinical trials. So, is it the placebo effect? Possible. Coincidence? Also possible. But to the citizen scientists involved, they're proof of concept. The idea that the microbiome isn't just a passive passenger, but a lever you can pull to shift your health in measurable ways. And here's where things get tricky. The line between personal experiment and self-administered medical treatment can blur faster than you might think. Small tweaks, big effects. Your gut's microbial community isn't fixed. It's a living, shifting network that responds to almost everything you do. Eat a single high-sugar meal, and within hours, certain species surge, while others retreat. Switch to a high-fiber diet for a week, and you can tilt the balance toward bacteria that thrive on plant matter, crowding out less helpful strains. These changes happen faster than most people imagine. That's empowering if your goal is to improve health. It means you're not stuck with the microbiome you have today. It can adapt, often within days, to new conditions you create. But this same responsiveness is a double-edged sword. Sudden, unplanned shifts can destabilize the delicate balance inside you. Add too much of a single probiotic strain, and you might create an imbalance that leads to uncomfortable bloating, unpredictable bowel changes, in extreme cases, gut infections that are difficult to treat. Feed the wrong microbe, even unintentionally, and you can give a competitive advantage to bacteria that cause inflammation, produce toxins, or suppress beneficial neighbors. The microbiome is like an orchestra where every instrument matters. Change one player's sheet music, and the whole symphony sounds different. Sometimes beautifully harmonious, and sometimes completely out of tune. In such a tightly interwoven system, small adjustments can cascade into big, unexpected outcomes. This is why experienced biohackers tend to make changes gradually, testing one variable at a time and tracking results closely. In the microbiome world, the rule of thumb is simple: respect the power of tiny shifts. The science. Modern research has revealed that your gut microbiome isn't just a passive bystander in digestion, it's an active biochemical factory, producing compounds that shape your health in ways we're only beginning to understand. One of its most important outputs, short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, such as butyrate, propionate, and acetate. These tiny molecules are produced when certain bacteria ferment dietary fiber, and they play multiple critical roles. Nourishing intestinal cells, butyrate is the preferred fuel for the cells lining your colon, helping maintain a strong, leak-proof barrier. Reducing inflammation, SCFAs, can dial down inflammatory pathways, lowering the risk of chronic disease. Influencing immune response, they help train immune cells to react appropriately, attacking real threats while ignoring harmless triggers. But the microbiome's reach goes far beyond the gut. Through the gut-brain axis, a two-way communication network of nerves, which includes the vagus nerve, hormones, and immune signals, gut microbes can send chemical messages to the brain. Some strains even produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA, which may influence mood, stress resilience, and sleep quality. Low diversity in the microbiome has been repeatedly linked to a range of conditions. Depression and anxiety, possibly driven by disrupted chemical signaling between gut and brain. Irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, often tied to imbalance in microbial composition. Obesity and type 2 diabetes, where certain microbes may influence calorie extraction and fat storage. This interconnectedness is why biohackers often describe the microbiome as a master key. Adjust the right microbial populations, and you could potentially influence digestion, immunity, metabolism, and even mental health, all through a single intricate ecosystem inside you. Risks and perils. For all its promise, microbiome biohacking is not without danger, and in some cases, those dangers are immediate and serious. Take DIY fecal microbiota transplants. In clinical settings, they're screened, regulated, and administered under strict medical protocols. But in home experiments, there's no guarantee of safety. A donor's stool can carry hidden pathogens, viruses, parasites, or bacteria resistant to multiple antibiotics. Once inside your gut, these microbes can take hold, causing infections that are extremely difficult to treat. And the risk isn't just infection. The immune system can misfire, triggering severe inflammation or allergic-like responses that spiral into full-blown medical emergencies. Even probiotics, often marketed as harmless, can pose hazards when they're unregulated. Some supplements have been found contaminated with unwanted bacteria or mislabeled entirely, meaning you might not get the desired strain. For people with compromised immune systems, even supposedly friendly microbes can cause bloodstream infections. Dietary interventions may sound safer, but they're not risk-free. Feed the wrong species, especially if you already have bacterial overgrowth in the small intestine, and symptoms can worsen dramatically: bloating, pain, diarrhea, and nutrient malabsorption. And then there's the biggest unknown of all: the long game. Microbiome science is still young. We can observe short-term changes, but we don't know the ripple effects years down the line. Today's miracle strain could turn out to have unintended consequences, altering metabolism, immune balance, or even disease risk decades later. When your laboratory is your kitchen, the safety net is thin. There are no ethics boards, no sterile clean rooms, and no second chances if something goes wrong. The thin line between medicine and self-experimentation. What separates a cutting-edge clinical trial from a DIY experiment? On paper, the differences are clear: a carefully designed protocol, a defined control group, meticulous record keeping, and layers of ethical and safety oversight. In practice, though, both involve human bodies, uncertain outcomes, and the hope that an intervention will lead to improvement. Citizen science has the potential to accelerate discovery. An army of curious, motivated individuals can explore ideas and generate data far faster than traditional research pipelines allow. Many major scientific breakthroughs started as small, informal experiments, sometimes even in people's homes. But in medicine, speed without safeguards comes with a price. In a controlled trial, every step is reviewed by ethics boards, monitored by trained professionals, and subject to rigorous safety checks. If something goes wrong, there's a response plan. In a kitchen-based experiment, there's no such safety net. An error in dosing, a contaminated culture, or a misinterpreted result can lead to harm. That's irreversible. The microbiome is perhaps the most tempting target for this kind of citizen biology. It's measurable, it's responsive, and it's deeply connected to health. But it's also astonishingly complex. A shifting ecosystem of thousands of species with countless interactions we still don't fully understand. Change one variable, and you might not see the real consequences for months or even years. The line between medical innovation and reckless trial and error is thinner than it looks. In the right hands, biohacking the microbiome could spark the next revolution in preventive health. In the wrong ones, it could cause damage we don't yet know how to fix. The future of DIY gut hacking. The next wave of microbiome biohacking could make today's experiments look primitive. Imagine personalized probiotics, designed not for the general public, but for you. Custom blends formulated from your unique DNA, your full microbiome profile, and even your current health metrics. No more guessing which strains might help. Every capsule would be tailored to your body's needs. With the rise of wearable and ingestible sensors, continuous gut monitoring may soon become reality. Tiny devices could track microbial shifts in real time, sending data to an AI that recommends precise dietary changes or microbial top-ups on the fly. Feeling stressed? The AI might suggest a probiotic yogurt blend rich in strains that boost GABA production. After a round of antibiotics, it could prescribe a targeted restoration protocol within hours. Community biology labs might evolve into certified hubs for safe, open-source, FMT donor banks, with rigorous pathogen screening but public access, bridging the gap between cutting-edge medicine and grassroots experimentation. Meanwhile, synthetic biology could bring genetically engineered microbes into the mainstream, living therapeutic agents programmed to patrol your gut, detect early signs of disease, and release medicine exactly where it's needed. But with power comes risk. As these tools become cheaper and more accessible, the temptation to bypass regulations will grow. People may opt for convenience over caution, importing unvetted strains or performing complex interventions without proper safeguards. We may be heading toward a world where the boundaries blur completely, where the patient, the scientist, and the guinea pig are the same person. Whether that future is a utopia of self-directed health or a cautionary tale of unintended consequences will depend on how we choose to use and govern the tools we're building today. Biohacking your microbiome is bold, personal science. It might heal, it might harm. The gut is an ecosystem, and every ecosystem is fragile. The question isn't just, can you change your microbiome at home? It's whether you should, and how far you're willing to go. If you are willing to continue the journey with us, like this video, and subscribe for more deep dives into the science shaping our health futures. Tell us in the comments, would you try a DIY microbiome hack if it promised to change your life? Thanks for watching. Stay blessed and stay curious.